Happy Halloween, everyone. Thrash Pondo here. And as always, I'm trying to readjust my body clock to daylight savings time. To all you people in civilized countries that don't have it, oh, I envy you. Oh, I envy you. Anyway, hang on. New managing moderators can support your channel, blah, 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 blah. Close. There you go. Oh, Tug's here. Tug, number one. Tug, long time no see. How goes the battle? Hola, senor, and hola, mi amigo, por vous. Mixed romance languages aside. E2, uh, con, con tu. Pardon, mi español es mi malo. And mi francais is blah. Anyway, good to see you, my brother. Let's see what else we got going on here. So far, it's just you and I. Just you and I. And hopefully someone else will show up. It'll just be me like talking at you for a while. Oh, I thought someone else had showed up. Nope, still you. Say, my good man. Good to see you. Good. I thought of something after I got off the show today, and I'm like, I'm going to have to share that with Tug when I speak to him, and I can't for the life of me remember what it was now. Probably wasn't important. Tab is here. Terrell Eugene Bellinger is here, and he says, hello, Thrall. He says, hi, Thrash. Happy Sunday. And a happy Sunday to you too, my brother. I think I'm going to put this over here. Yes, it'll be much, much easier for me to read, which I think I've had it there before. But anyway, good to see you as well, Teb. Vlad Tebish. That we should call you that for the spirit of what's left of Halloween weekend. And let's see what else we get going on here. Hope you're doing well, Teb. I hope you enjoyed your Halloweeny. And other than that, not much to say here. Just I wonder how many people we're going to get. It's funny if memory serves me. The Sunday show of daylight savings time weekend is always rough. People their body clocks are off. A lot of people will probably show up tonight at 8. And there is all that. But anyway, we will persevere to endeavor. Tonight's topic, by the way, are very short-lived shows of the 70s and 80s. In fact, right around there, 79, 80 mostly. And I apologize. It's a toughie. It's a toughie, but it's fun, and it might help us waltz down memory lane. Tug says, I didn't enjoy my hot dog. It was all casing, no filling. A true Halloweeny. I wondered where you were going with that. Good one. Christopher's here. He says, good evening, Bob. And a good evening to you as well, Mr. Chris. Oh, and I got your happy Halloween sentiment, by the way. Thank you. I could have sworn I responded. If I didn't, do forgive me. But I did get your message in the spirit of the all Eve of Hallows. Lance is here. He says, hey, Thrash. Lance, so good to see you, my brother. Welcome to the party. And so far, there's only 4. But you guys are my gang of 4. That works for me. How was everyone's Halloween? Hope you all had a good time. I didn't get a single trick-or-treater this year. I got to tell you a little secret. In my hometown, there's a huge residential area on the opposite side of my street, and they have the biggest neighborhood Halloween party in Cape Cod, I think. People come from other towns just to go to it. When my granddaughter still trick-or-treated, we used to bring her over there. And I think as a result of their big event that everyone in the area goes to, we don't get a lot of local trick-or-treaters. It's a pity too, because we did get candy. We ended up eating it. Well, we still have a lot left, but we nibbled at it ourselves. Tab says, guess this 1980s slasher classic. The calendar date between 12 and 14 on the 6th day of the week. Based on the available clues, I'm going to say, guess who's coming to dinner? No, no, no. It has to be Friday the 13th. I'm guessing the first one. One of my favorites, I got to tell you, Of all the early '80s slasher gore fests, that's the one I always go back to. That jump scare at the end still gets me. And as we were discussing earlier, you can still leave it ambiguous. Some people say that actually was Jason, in fact, wasn't there. She was having a trauma dream, perhaps being influenced by his demonic nature, like basically saying, I'm coming to get you, Barbara. But he actually wasn't there because remember, the cops don't see him. And they were reasonably close at the time, and they probably would have heard him scream. So, but in any event, still a great slasher movie. And Lance guessed correctly as well. And Tug says trunk or treating has ruined the Halloween vibe. We had a few trick or treaters, but it seems smaller every year. Well, they have like on Main Street on in Hyannis on Cape Cod, they have a huge Halloween stroll. Malls oftentimes get into the act. It's considered safer than your traditional trick or treating. I don't necessarily think it is, but I understand the sentiment. But and there have been some shenanigans that do happen on Halloween, some stuff that does make it dangerous for kids. But believe it or not, they've actually they boiled it down because a lot of it are really just urban legends. The actual cases where some children have come to harm is bafflingly low in reality. To like, well, I guess two would be too many, but to ruin an entire tradition seems a little mm, sad to me. Chris says, "Good evening to Lance." Lance said, "I have all the Friday the 13th on DVD." Tug says, "The best horror movie jump scare." Oh, it was asking best horror movie jump scare. Well, as discussed, possibly, Friday the 13th. Although another one that always got me in Return of the Living Dead, when they're trying to call for help and they go into Bert's office, and literally just as I go to the phone, a zombie jumps through the window. For some reason, that always freaked me out when I first saw it. Oh, Kevin from the entertainment headquarters here. Kevin, so good to see you, my brother. He says, hi, Thresh. Kevin, hi, so nice to have you with us tonight. Christopher says, I was Doctor Who for Halloween. Surprise, surprise. I think he told me that. I think he told me that when we had lunch not too long ago. Teb says, guess the beloved 1980 musical comedy starring Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi, The Depressed Siblings. That would have to be the Blues Brothers. I say how, boom, 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 boom. I say how, boom, 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 boom. Yes, Blues Brothers. Lance gets it as well, and Kevin says Thrash in February. I'm gonna be reviewing the Omega Man or Time Machine, and like to have you on. I If I have to go home early from work, I will do Omega Man. I absolutely love Omega Man. It's not exactly reliant to the source material, but then again, neither is the Time Machine, and I'll do that one too. So I'm assuming you mean 1964's George Pal's Time Machine. I'm all over that one, or of course the Omega Man. So count me in like Flynn. Just we'll talk maybe over the week about details. We have until February after all. Tug says the nun in Exorcist 3 scared the gas out of me. Not a great movie, but a great jump scare. I never saw Exorcist 3. In fact, I chastised my friend, my an old erstwhile friend, sadly, like so many of them are. He and I were making fun of it when it came out, and then his girlfriend was in town and they went to see a movie. When they got home, I go, "What'd you go to see?" He goes, "Exorcist 3." And I made the mistake of giving him some good natured ribbing, and apparently it was a touchy subject. Lance says, Michael Allfield, Tubular Bells, creepy score. Very much so. Gary Carpenter's here. Let me guess, you're back. Yo, I didn't even have to read, but yes. Hi there, everyone. I'm back. Kevin says, I went to my brother's on Halloween and we had a Nightmare on Elm Street marathon. That sounds like a lot of fun. He just got his star on the Hollywood Hawk of Fame Walk of Fame, by the way. I don't know if you heard, it wasn't big news or anything. Mrs. Thrush was like, God, is that all they have to talk about? We're a little short on good news these days, I'm afraid. He had his own short-lived it wasn't an anthology, it was sort of a mock documentary, like a cryptid type show where he took old urban lemons. He took urban legends and talked about them, sort of like what Shatner's doing now with the unexplained. It was good. I love the show. They had to talk about the southwestern devil, which they think was actually an escaped camel from that very famous experiment where the cavalry experimented with camels. That's the whole story, really. They made a movie about that too. Actually, it's called Hoops. Gary says New York City is having a marathon now. Oh, the New York Marathon is this week. I didn't. I had forgotten. I had forgotten. Tug says Freddy's Nightmares. Short again. That would have made the list if I had thought of it. A great short-lived. It wasn't a great show, but it had a potential. I wish I'd given it more. Kevin says I loved Robert England in V. Very well. He wasn't very. He'd been acting for a while, but I do remember him in V. Tip says, guess this terrifying 1984 slasher classic, A Bad Dream on a Street Named After a Tree. He just jumps ahead to like extrapolate Nightmare on Elm Street. Tracy here says, hi, entertainment. Gary says, Freddie got a star on the Walk of Fame. He certainly did. Kevin says, also, I only enjoyed the original Time Machine. Let's not talk about the remake. I know, it wasn't his grandson involved with that somehow. I wanted to like that movie so bad, and I couldn't, and I couldn't. BK on the oh my god, BK Barry is here. BK on the ears. He said, "Hey buddy, Jerry Goldsmith's score for Poltergeist 1982 was a horror musical masterpiece. It certainly was. I saw Poltergeist in the theaters." Lance is like, Tracy, how's the foot doing? That's a good question. A lot of people having fellowship saying hi. Tracy, hello to you, of course. And a wave at Barry. And Tug is like, did you know the main theme from Poltergeist has lyrics? Swear to God, I never knew that. I did not know that. I did not know that. I know the MASH theme does, but um, that's horrible, not horror movie. Kevin says, I also am doing the Back to the Future trilogy in December. Also, are more than welcome to join us in that one. um, I love the first one. I like the second one, and I have only the vaguest recollection of the third one. If but you know what? If the offer stands, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. I do have there are certain things I do remember about the third one that could come into play, but um, I'm always up to talking Back to the Future. And you I know I was probably say for the show, but I just after this bit, I was just talking to Mrs. Thrush about this. One of the funniest lines in 1980s comedy cinema is when he's trying to convince the doc that he's from the future, and Doc goes, "Okay, future boy, who's president?" And I saw it in the theater, and the entire film audience burst out laughing because we all know where it was going to go. Because we went, "He's never going to believe you." He goes, "Ronald Reagan." The actor? Who's the Secretary of the Treasury? Jerry Lewis? And I'm like, no one's ever going to believe you. Mercy. But yes, that'll be a lot of fun as well. Tracy says, "Thank you. Actually, my foot still hurts." Oh, sorry, Bubba. Going for a follow up on fifth. So maybe they could give me some good painkillers or something because I really don't. It does hurt. Oh, I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry. Lynn says, Tug, so does the MASH movie. Ah, great minds think alike, Lance. Yes, we both came up with that. I'm sorry. I'm very, very wheezy. There's something in the air. Black mold, probably. Ted says, guess this horrifying 1973 movie, a priest who specializes in making the devil go away. Oh, we could certainly use him now. um, I'm gonna have to go with The Exorcist with Maxwell von Sydow. C under Bergman. Tug says, yeah, but we can't say the MASH lyrics on YouTube. Oh, that's right. That's right. We can't now because, in fact, I said a word earlier today, which I hope you don't get flagged for. I'm not going to say again for reasons all too clear, but I think you. And Tugs' third one has ZZ Top. Why don't I recall that? Mm. Kevin says I got tickets to see Back to the Future the musical as well. I heard about that. I heard about that. Good work. Good work. Lynn says Tracy been having painful toe cramps. Boy, they hurt. Ouch. Dan is here. Dilly Dan is here. Says greetings to you. Greetings to you, Dan the man. And Christmas, I hope your foot feels better, Tracy. Guys, we got 10 people in the chat and only 4 likes. We can do better than that. Come on, bros and sisters and what have you. And Dan is also here. Says greetings from South Carolina. And Tug says greetings to South Carolina. And yeah, that pretty much catches us up. But yeah, I want. We're up to 7 likes. We're up to 7 likes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You have 5 likes actually. LOL. Yeah, once you mention it, they go kablooey. But thank you, Lance has hit that like button. Thank you very much for that. And Kevin, there was something I was actually going to ask you about, and I can't for the life of me remember what it was. Something about British sci-fi. Well, if I think of it, I'll throw it out there. Not that like every person from England knows every single English movie, but if I think of it, I'll throw it out there. And Gary says, LC, I saw the video on YouTube about putting your feet in some special solution. Mm. Oh yes, and Danny's giving links. Yes, Dan, please. Oh, and please give a link to Barry and Kevin at the entertainment headquarters, and I believe that's the only other. Oh, and Tracy, if she doesn't have them already. And Kevin just said also Thrash Bondo, what's your opinion on the Planet of the Apes franchise? Love the original. Absolutely adore the original. I have seen most of the reboot franchise, which I enjoy. I don't know if it doesn't have Roddy McDowell. I don't know if they tried to make it too accurate, so it took out some of the whimsy. I don't know. I enjoy the reboot series, but I don't love it as much as the original series with Roddy McDowell in most of them. No offense to Mr. Wahlberg, but the Chris Christopherson disaster. Even Tim Roth couldn't save that one. And oh, Brogu's here. Says hello, everyone. Brogu, welcome to the party. And it was about Doctor Who. All us British know about Doctor Who. LOL. No, I think it was. Oh, well, I was talking about Fugue for a Darkening Isle earlier, and there was something. It was something about English science fiction, specifically in English post-apocalyptic fiction, because England has the best. I don't know if it's because they survived the world wars in a much more vivid in your face way, but English writers seem to have their finger on the pulse of what the end of the world would actually look like better than American writers. I don't think it was necessarily on Fugue for a Darkening Isle, but it was something along those. Well, anyway, if I think of it, I'll let you know. I promise. I promise. And oh, Len says he misses being on your streams, Tug. And Teb says, guess the scary 1982 supernatural classic ghost that stalked and haunted a family home. I might have the year wrong, but it sounds like the Amityville Horror? I'm going to guess the Amityville Horror. Oh, Gary says Poltergeist or Amityville. Yeah, Poltergeist was 84. Oh, 84, 85. It was a little later. But I thought Amityville came out when I was still in middle school. In fact, I thought Amityville came out like more around 79, 80. But I could be wrong. But I'm guessing Amityville. Uh Kevin says Day of the Triffids. Kevin, I don't know if you saw it. In fact, I'm guessing a lot of you didn't see it. Hint, hint. I actually do a post about my theory that Day of the Triffids might just be the most influential post apocalyptic film, or even if you will, science fiction work of all time. There was literally before it and after it. And I stuck with the movie because you know what? The movie isn't particularly good. It's not bad, but considering how much better the book was, it's not. But so many post-apocalyptic movies and TV shows afterwards were directly taken from it. There's literally before Day of the Triffids and after Day of the Triffids, and I cite a lot of examples. And Tug actually helped me. He actually did some impromptu research and supported that. So check it out. By the way, it's one I'm really proud of, and thank Tug by proxy. But and you know what the funniest thing about that is? You know who reviewed the novel and actually tore it to pieces was my favorite science fiction author of all time, Brian Wilson Aldiss, OBE. He made fun of it. He coined the term cozy catastrophe to make fun of Day of the Triffids. He said it's so convenient how the main characters always manage to get their hands on whatever they need at the time. He coined the term cozy catastrophe. And Lance Chapman says Enemyville was 79 and Poltergeist was 82. Okay, then Poltergeist was the correct answer. I'm sorry, I thought it was later, but thank you. And Ted says, yeah, Poltergeist came out in 82. That's the correct answer. Okay, so all right, for those of you who guessed 82, Poltergeist, correct. I thought it was later, but sometimes I'm off. And Indy Spouses here says, sorry I'm late. I was listening to Led Zeppelin 4 and no one interrupts Zepp, not even me. Poltergeist was 82, Henryville was 79. Thank you as well, by the way. And who were you listening to Led Zeppelin 4 with? And what movie reference is that from? And Kevin says the day the earth caught fire. I love the day the earth caught fire. And if you look really closely, that girl does a nude scene. The scene where she pops out of the tub. Sorry, I'm such a pig. But yeah, no, yes, you get a slight glimpse of the someone got past the American censors. But yeah, the day the earth got fire is great. And it has Leo McKern. Yeah, and he was great in it. And Lynn says hi, Indy. And Tug says the BBC version from 1981 is better. Yeah, of Day of the Triffids. I think I have that. I believe I have that on on VHS of all things. I got it from a questionable source. They also included the first couple of seasons of Survivors, which was a very good series. At least I guess it went off the rails in later seasons, but the first couple of seasons of Survivors I thought was excellent. And I'm just going to skim down really quick because I'm already falling behind. Just Kerwin! Oh my god! Oh my god! Everybody said to Just Kerwin. Just Kerwin is a huge fan of Tugs. Speak to them all the time on Tugs shows, and he decided to come and see us tonight. Everybody, welcome Just Kerwin, who says, "Evening, all welcome to the party." So far, we're just talking. Tonight's trivia is actually on short-lived TV series, but we're having a heck of a time talking about English post-apocalyptic sci-fi movies and TV. American as well, but English are better, in my opinion. If you can beat that, feel free to throw that hat into the ring. Lynn says, guess the killer doll from the good guy doll box. Chucky. Uh, Gary Carpenter in the movie called The Day the Earth Exploded. I think I that rings a bell. And or The Day the Earth Ended by Roger Corman. And Kevin says Quatermass in the pit. Okay, since you brought up Quatermass, I have to ask you. 5 million Years to Earth, which was the theatrical release of one of the Quatermass made for TV movies. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's effectively Life Force. Life Force is, in many ways, a higher budget version of 5 million Years to Earth. Anyone? Anyone? Jenny says, "I'm gonna eat, be listening." That's so you're here. You're just not really gonna be saying much. That's quite all right as long as you're here. It's moral support. Gary says to KW, "How did you manage to do that?" And Indy just jumped off the page. But and he says, "Was that a Fast Times reference, Bob?" Yes, it was. He says, "Always put on side one or side A of Led Zeppelin 4." I never actually tried that. To be honest with you, I'm surprised. I tried many dumber things when I was a teenage boy. Some of them worked, but we won't talk about that. Anyway, Chris says Susan, the first Doctor's granddaughter, was in Day of the Triffids. Holy cow! I completely forgot that. Yes, she was very, very, very good. And Tug says I have a vid on the day the Earth caught fire. Yeah, I have VHS of it as well. That's how I know about this scene I was talking about. Dirty old man that I am. And Tracy says, I love Day of the Triffids. Oh, no, I love it. I love it too. It's just not particularly good. It varies wildly from the source material. But it's one of the most influential post-apocalyptic films of all time. And Lynn says, Tug, how's Harold the Hatter doing? Every now and then I see something by him on Facebook, but he's kind of ghosted all of us. And Tug says, I have no idea, Linz. We don't talk anymore. Yeah. And Tug says, Threads is a good film. That film scarred me when I was a teenager. It came out in the States, I think I was 16, 17. And I caught it by mistake. They showed it on PBS, which is a public broadcasting company, local stations in different regions in the country. And they love British shows. And one of them that they showed was Threads. And I won't get into it, but some of the scenes in that it like mess with me mentally. I remember I did how I don't know if you were on this week. I was talking about it anecdotally. I was watching it and the main story arc where the post apocalyptic thing happens behind them, but it's the young couple where the girl falls pregnant, and so they have to have kind of a rushed marriage, and the boy who's trying to break the news to his father and mother, has this very attractive sister. And I remember going, damn. And it was funny because then they go on to the apocalyptic portion. Like, oh, it's so sad. They're dying. It's so sad. Oh, it's so sad. Oh, damn, his sister's hot. You know? Teenage boys have a very skewed sense of mm, anything, really. And he says, Just Kerwin, never heard of him. Oh, you never heard of Just Kerwin. Oh, bite me, Indy. Wow, I'm way behind. I'll try to catch up. Let's see what else we going on. 257 is here. It says special bulletin movie from the 80s. I know that one's wild. Kerwin says actually it's she, they, but it's all good. I am so sorry. You know what? In fact, I think I did this before. I always think of Lance Kerwin from James at 15. So if I keep saying he, it's because for some reason every time I see the name Kerwin, I'm always thinking I'm talking to Lance Kerwin. I don't know why. He's no longer with us, by the way. I'm afraid. So Justine, I'm guessing, but anyway, it doesn't matter. I will use proper pronouns from this day forward. Or can I just call you JK? If not, I was JK. Thank you for understanding. There's a lot of inferring that goes on my channel, and I usually get it wrong. But thank you. Do. 2 out of 7 says good movie Life Force. Yeah, talk about hot, huh? Um, Kevin says, I agree. It's very much Life Force. Thank you. Good. All right, good. Yeah, I noticed that like when I was in college, and the only problem is no one had ever heard of 5 billion years to Earth. There we go. Now I think I'm caught up. Bite me indie, wink. Danny says LOL, could be to anything. Chris says my dad's friend lived near the Amityville horror house. Oh yeah, in Long Island, I believe. And 2007 says duck and cover riff tracks version of this 50 short. I remember that one. I think I have a copy of that on a bulk tape of post-apocalyptic stuff. G- Gary Modesty, there's Explodives 1958. I think I've seen it. I can't recall off the top of my head, but it sounds wicked, wicked familiar, wicked familiar. And he says apparently they never tried it in Fast Times either. Bob, the song playing in the car was Kashmir from Physical Graffiti. Good point. And of course, when Miss Kate's get out of the pool, that's Walking in Stereo by the Kaz. The Kaz, also from Boston. Uh I jumped again, so I'm gonna go back. Oh, John Dozier says, I have arrived. Is that from the Spinning Image Oscars show from forever ago? I have just arrived. I've not been doing anything suspicious in the back alley with a bat because I have just arrived. Let me just see. Uh, Kevin says the man who fell to earth. That's a great one. What you mean is here. Hey, what you mean? What you mean is here. I just wanted to say hi, howdy. I'm heading. Hope to catch the next one, the next of the live. I hope you can too. Thank you for stopping in to say hello. Lynn says just watch Sinners. It was real good. Gary says I only saw that once, and it has Dick York in the film. No kidding. A lot of people saying hi to John. Tug says the man who fell to earth, but copyright monsters blocked my review. Wow. Of it all around the world. Wow. Gary says John Doe in the house. Uh 257 says one of the best zombie movies of all time. Great practical effects, awesome soundtrack, funny and scary moments mixed to perfection. A lot of people saying bye to Wedge. 2007 says Return of the Living Dead. Great 80s movie. One of the quintessential 80s movies. That has such an 80s feel to it. Just as hate when that happens. Tug. I do as well. Miss. And Gary says, only I don't like zombie movies. A lot of people can take it and believe. I love them. A lot of people can take it and believe in. 2007 says the best zombie is still Night of the Living Dead from 1968. That's the alpha patient. That's before that and after that. Tracy says girls can be that way too about boys. Of course they can. Of course they can. It's a fair country. It was a fair country. And just says I loved that show, Thresh, and that's fine. Thank you, and thank you. And Gary says White Zombie with Bela Lugosi is good. That movie is absolutely amazing. I absolutely love that movie. It is pre-code, so it really pushes the envelope. There's a lot of veiled depravity in it that really works, and I think Bela Lugosi at his best. I think he was just having fun with it. It's a great film. It really is. And Lance says Salem's Lot, good movie with Lance Kerwin. Speaking of Lance Kerwin, yes, and that's a great miniseries. And Tug says Bob's frisky tonight. Probably all the chocolate that I was eating. I don't know. And John Doe says, "What car is better, the car from Christine or the car from the movie The Car?" Mine's the car from The Car. No wrong answer. They're both great cars, but Christine had style. 2007 says the movie Zombie Flesh Eaters on Tubi. That's ringing a bell. A lot of people prefer The Car, although there's some. Christine Tug says it is affects the whole earth. Wouldn't it be day and the night? Good point. Good point. 257 says 1958, The Blob. Great, great movie. Love it, love it. And let's see. 57 says Night of the Comet movie. Oh, wait, that's a Christmas movie. You are paying attention. You people are. Yes, Night of the Comet is a Christmas movie, and I will die on that hill. I do a post about that, by the way. Take a look. And then put your thoughts in the comment section below, please. Killdozer, the Hearst, of course. Teb says, guess this memorable 1997 slasher. I know what you did on the previous season between spring and fall. Yes, the movie's called I Know What You Did Last Summer, but wouldn't have been more accurately labeled I Know What You Did 2 summers ago? Gary says the original Blob is the best. It is great. And Terrell, yes, last summer. And Tug says, I have arrived is what posh gentlemen say when they finish. And Lance says, and we got the beat opening of Fast Times at Ridgemont High. And Lance goes on to say, the 88 Blob was good. Yeah, what was her name? Shawnee something or other. She was good in it. Gary says to Lance, haven't seen it in years, but it's fair. You know, it had its moments. It had its moments. And I like the anti-religious fundamentalist Christian angle in there as well. Lens goes on to say, "What do you call a Roman cannibal? He's called a gladiator." John Doe says, "I like Black Sabbath, both the movie and the band. I love the band and the movie Black Sabbath with Boris Karloff is outstanding. We were just talking about verbal acts, actually. It's the one time I could think of where Boris Karloff played a vampire. Mhm. Indy, anything else on Boris Karloff vampirism? Let me know. Indy says, "What's the topic of torture for tonight, Bob?" Very short-lived TV shows, and the short-lived. I'm guessing a lot of you have never even heard of them, but Indy, that's why we keep you around. So if you know, play it for fun. If you don't know, just play anyway, and feel free to cheat off Indy. God knows I will. And he says, "Hey there, K-Dub." Lynn says, "Indie short TV shows that did poorly." Trivia. Indy says, 2007 says, "Zombie 2, zombie fish, flesh eaters." I see. Zombie 2 is zombie flesh eaters. Gotcha. Is a classic gore-filled zombie film in Italy. Oh, it's classified as a sequel to George Romero's Dawn of the Dead since Italy. It's called Zombie. I think I knew that somewhere. I forgot it, but yeah, it's called Zombie 2 because, believe it or not, Fulci, who made it, wanted people to think it was a sequel. He was playing fast and loose with basically copyright infringement. Has absolutely nothing to do with Dawn of the Dead. But a zombie fights a shark in any movie where a zombie and shark can engage in mortal combat is okay in my book. John says, I like the car. It's just pure evil, and there's something alluring about 100% pure evil, especially the filming issues of the car during the filming of the movie The Car. There were behind the scenes issues. I did not know that. And he says, Shawnee Smith, thank you. It was on the tip of my tongue. Z. Snark Sass is here. Oh my God, Snark Sass, so good to see you. Please, somebody give Snark Sass a link so you people can check out Snark Sass if you haven't already. Lynn says, Kevin Dillon. Yes, it was Matt Dillon's brother. Gladiator. Da da da. A lot of people saying hi to Snarky. And Indy says, I remember him using Dracula's blood on himself in House of Frankenstein, but I don't recall him turning into a vampire. I believe you are correct. Thank you. And Tug says Kit is better than Christine. Oh yes, with Daniels. Daniels, the guy who was Mr. Feeney in Boy Meets World. He was also in St. Elsewhere. He did the voice. He's amazing. He was also in that, speaking of short lived TV shows, he was in a very silly short lived TV show called Captain Nice, I believe. There were a couple episodes on YouTube. I remember Steve from Life and Sad Ending really loved the show, apparently. William Daniels. Thank you, Jess. William Daniels. Very good, very good. And Gary says, "Geek, anything is better than her." And Tug says, "Indy just said you were correct. Mark your calendar for posterity." And Lance also says, "William Daniels." Excellent, excellent. And Gary says, "Wait, adjust. William Daniels is nearly yes, yes, he is." And John Doe says, "I'll send you a video of the problems of filming the car." Oh, thank you, John. Yes, you got my Gmail. Thank you. It didn't turn over for most drivers. Ooh, weird. Wasn't as bad as the car though that James Dean drove though, huh? That's you know who warned James Dean not to buy that car or to get rid of it at least? Mm, Sir Alec Guinness. I'd get rid of this car. Yeah, I wouldn't drive this car. And he says, "I'll take a Herkimer Battle Gin- Ginty over Kit, thanks." Okay. Oh, Todd got it. So Alec Guinness. Yes, Alec Guinness. And Chris says the guy who played Sherlock Holmes was in Son of Frankenstein. Basil Rathbone. If I'm guessing the wrong Sherlock Holmes, let me know. But I'm guessing Basil Rathbone. And how did I not know that? I'm finding this more and more, gang. There are a lot of things that come to my attention that I've decided there's no way I couldn't have known it. I must have known that at some point and forgotten. Like my personal go-to, which I'm sure you guys have heard 87,000 times, is when I thought Richard Corbin is my favorite comic book artist of all time. And one of my top 10 albums of all time is Meatloaf's Bat Out of Hell. And I recently found out, well, I'd say recently, actually, in the last maybe 10, 12 years ago, I found out that Richard Corbin did the artwork for Bat Out of Hell. And I'm like, no, there's no way I could have not known that. When I was in high school, my friends were comic book geeks. Someone would have said Corbin did that album cover to me because I knew I loved Corbin. So, but there we go. Gary says, Kit, Batmobile, generally Black Beauty. Chris says, yes. And Tug says, yes, Basil Rathbone. He plays Frankenstein. Again, I must have known that at some point and forgotten it. He's also in We're No Angels. I love We're No Angels, one of my favorite Christmas movies of all time. And John Doe says, did you see the video of Mr. Rogers versus Bob Ross? I saw something on Bob Ross. I don't know if I saw that one. I gotta admit, I have a couple of yours that you've sent me that I haven't had a chance to look at. I love the one with Reagan as a wrestler. That was a ride. And he says that vehicle was from Mystery Man Bob. Although I do like watching the smoke coming out of your ears thinking about it. Thank you. Tug says the scientist, not the monster. Yes, the monster's name was not Frankenstein. It's the monster. But then again, people have said it is correct to call Frankenstein's monster Frankenstein. It has become a social inference. Um, Doug says, "Damn these fingers." Danny says, "Now I want meatloaf. Thanks a lot." Lynn says, "BRB." Okay, man. Gary says Basil Rathbone was in another version of the Black Cat. That rings a bell. And Tips says, guess the iconic 1996 slasher Yell, Scream. And Tracy says, LOL, Robert. And 57 says, Eee! And John Doe says, I like just about any car from George Barris. He made some awesome cars, and someone says, "Scream yes." And Tracy says, "I miss Emily." Speak of the devil, and the devil appears. Emily literally popped on as I was reading that. Emily says, "Tracy M has been here since." So, oh, you've been lurking in the shadows. Naughty, naughty girl. Naughty, wicked, evil Emily. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I was going into that whole thing from actually, Indy, you tell them what I was going for. Think Monty Python. And Tug just watched a Rocky Horror, Danny, and damn these glasses, son. And oh yeah, again, Emily and made her presence known. Emily's been lurking. Hey, it's a good thing I never said anything mean about her, huh? But who could? Ah, just Kerwin for the win. Yes, Holy Grail, wicked, evil, awful, naughty Zoot. Yes. Oh, you were one of my first likes. You were one of my first likes too, Emily. And John Doe says you remember the movie Watership Down. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, that's a tough watch. Not as bad as Plague Dogs, but that's a toughie. That is a toughie. And let's see what else we got. A lot of people saying hello to one another. And it talks about spanking. Yes, you must spank her. And then spank me. Yes, spank all of us. Um, there's only 150 of us between 16 and 19 and a half. English could get away with little inferences like that. But anyway, I digress. Hey, you know what? How about the trivia? Yeah, but play the trivia. Are you guys sure? Do you want me the trivia now, or do you want to wait a little bit? No, 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 play the trivia. Okay, I'll play the trivia. Tonight's trivia, I'm sure you all know, is short-lived shows from the 70s and 80s. Oh, let me just get a couple more in here. And he says to John Doe, "Thanks. Now I can combine that and Holy Grail. That's Rabbit Dynamite." Ooh, yes, very good, very good. And Emily says, "Eric, don't threaten me with a good time." And just correct, yes. And now for the spanking. And and so we will begin the trivia. And John Doe says, "Are you excited for Godzilla Day coming this month?" I'm excited for anything Godzilla. And remember, short lived TV shows. And I'll start, as always, in no particular order. Number 10. Before his starring role in Wrath of Khan, this sci fi perennial appeared in a short lived sci fi series, Phoenix. Was it A. Ike Eastman, B. Judson Scott, C. Peter Barton, or C. Merritt Buttrick? I shall repeat. Has a new flamethrower. Sure does. I shall repeat. Before his starring role in Wrath of Khan, this sci fi perennial appeared in the short lived sci fi series Phoenix. Was it A. Ike Eastman, B. Judson Scott, C. Peter Barton, or D. Merritt Buttrick? Oh, and since you guys have already gotten this, I'm just going to get. He also was in the pilot episode of The Power of the Matthew Star for people playing at home, but that's okay. Oh, Andy Warhol. Andy Warhol's dead, but I'm not. Oh, yeah. And feel free to cheat off Indy in this one, by the way. And Kevin says, "Happy Godzilla Day is officially 71 years old and looking good." He certainly is. He's certainly bad. Um, the correct answer is Judson Scott. And I put that one in here specifically. And he says he's eating, so he's probably going to be sort of in and out. Danny asked me to do something on the Phoenix. So that was more of an in joke for those of you who were watching Tug's show earlier. And he says, fairly certain that series had an Incan alien or something. It might have. I don't even remember it. And Tug says, youth just radiates off of him. I love it. And Gary says, Ike was in Escape and Return from Witch Mountain. He certainly was with Kim Richards. I want to say Kim Richards. It's not Kim Richards, somebody, Indy, correct me, among others. Number 9. Ben Vereen and Jeff Goldblum starred in this short-lived private investigator series. Was it A, City of Angels, B, Switch, C, McMillan and Wife? I can't even say it with a straight face. Or D, 10 Speed and Brown Shoe? I'll come in again. Ben Vereen and Jeff Goldblum starred in this short lived private investigator series. Was it A, City of Angels, B, Switch, C, McMillan and Wife, or D, 10 Speed and Brown Shoes? Oh, I didn't know Ike was also in the one with The Rock. Interesting, interesting. And Gary Carter says Kim Richards, Betty Davis, and Christopher Lee. She got Betty Davis eyes. And yes, it was in fact 10 Speed and Brown Shoe, which I loved. I loved that. I was like 11 when it came out. I loved. And it lasted, I think, like 8 episodes, and then it was canceled. Uh, yeah, Ike and Kim were both in the movie. I was a section. Number 8. This S.C. Hinton novel had a short-lived TV adaptation. Was it A, The Outsiders, B, That Was Then, This Is Now, C, Rumblefish, or D, Tex? I shall repeat. Indy, there are probably 10 people in the country that know that, and we are two of them. Yes, Indy's right. Jackie Del Shannon actually did the song Betty Davis Eyes 8 years before Kim Carnes. And you want to hear something even really, really funny? Jackie Del Shannon was trying to break into the movies as well. And she did a movie. It's called Let's Live a Little. It was supposed to be one of those college romps where they didn't really have a plot, but but basically the two main characters form a musical group and do a benefit at the end. Doesn't make any sense at all whatsoever. But anyway, Jackie Del Shannon is in it. And the weird thing, she has her hair all ratted up and she's wearing this like gray dress at the end. She looks so much like my mother. It is crazy. I have pictures of my mother with her hair up like that. And I'm like, oh my God, it's Jackie Del Shannon. My mother was Jackie Del Shannon. Or my Jackie Del Shannon with my mother, either way. But anyway, the reason I bring up this very silly, very forgettable movie is who had a small part as one of the co-eds? Kim Carnes. Kim Carnes was actually in this movie. Now, I don't know if that's how they met and shared intellectual properties, but it's just but anyway, yes, Kim Carnes is better. Well, Kim Carnes is a little deeper. The Jackie Del Shannon, it was almost like she was trying to do some like 90s, 40s Nickelodeon style, like I don't know what she was doing. It's not bad, but Betty Davis. The Betty Davis version of Betty Davis Eyes. The Betty Davis version of the Kim going off the rails. Anyway, yes, Jackie Del Shannon did the original of Betty Davis Eyes. Anyway, did I answer the question? It was The Outsiders. You guys seem to have got it right at the gate, yeah. Oh, and speaking of The Outsiders, Outsiders, great coming of age teenage movie, right? Right. They do That Was Then, This Is Now. That they decide to set in present day. Why? That Was Then, This Is Now is the follow up novel to The Outsiders. Why does it have to take place 20 years later? Just doesn't make any sense. And I did like That Was Then, This Is Now, but The Outsiders is way better. Didn't read Text of Rumblefish. Anybody think I should? I've kind of outgrown my coming of age period, but anyway, moving on to number 7. Oh, hang on a second. Anybody says Jackie Del Shannon did run away. Her name is Des Shannon. You're killing me, bub. I'm sorry. It's a mental block. I'm sorry. Jackie Des Shannon. My lord. Oh, I was telling everybody you look. It's my mom, folks. I told everybody that you looked like her in your youth. No, you did. When you brought me back from the hospital, you had your hair ratted up and stuff like that. We're having a little moment, folks. Bear with me. But, oh yes, take my word for it. Anyway, my mom, folks. Anyway, Jackie Day Shannon. There's another name, and I'm always mispronouncing too. By the way, I don't know why because it's spelled very. And Tug says Indy's about to start singing Christmas carols. I love it. You keep trying. JC is here. Pons. Great to see you as well. Oh my God. Welcome, welcome. You're just in time to take part in part of the trivia. And Denny says, I'm listening to Pons eating lasagna. I am not eating lasagna, so you're not listening to me eating lasagna. And watching Frankenstein chase Abbott Costello. And you know he hated making that movie? He hated the script. He said he had read more funny things on a tombstone. And he says, Emily, I'm definitely stubborn. My mama also said so. My mama told me, you better stop for clowns. And if you want me to explain that, I'll do it after the trivia. Check. Although my favorite bit in the whole movie is still he opens the door and it's to the dungeon and all that, and he closes it, and Chick goes, "What's in there?" And he goes, "Broom closet." Broom closet. anyway, the correct answer was The Outsiders. Number 7. This short-lived Western comedy used Gilligan's Island as a template. Was it A, Wagon Train, B, Mosby's Marauders, C, Best of the West, D, Dusty's Trail? Danny said, sadly, Abbott Costello Meet Frankenstein may be the better than the half the movies I watched this Halloween. You're probably right. Lynn says, like Piper said, Mama don't like tater tails. And Emily says, "Oh, yeah." Indy says, Emily says, Indy, do you and Eric have the same mom by any chance? No, I think Chance is a different mother. And okay. I can't remember if I repeated it now. I'm so busy trying to like be corrected by Indy and keep up with the trivia. So, this short-lived Western comedy used Gilligan's Island as a template. Was it A, Wagon Train, B, Mosby's Marauders, C, Best of the West, or D, Dusty's Trail? And Doug says, I'm going to say D because all cool kids are doing it. Do you say sixes and sevens too? That was the year I was born. In fact, that actually happened on Dave's channel last week. Dave asked me when something came out, and I said 6'7". And he goes, "Ooh, Bob's trying to be hip," and I go, "No, it came out in 6'7", which happened to be the year I was born. Snark says, by the way, all the kids saying that now should think we're cool because we were all born in 6'7", way back when, in 67. And Emily says, I don't think I've ever seen it. It was very, very short lived. And then the correct answer is D, Dusty's Trail. Forrest Tucker was actually in it, by the way. And Ivor Francis, the guy who always played creepy old guy in everything. Indy, was it Ivor Francis? I know I got most of the phonic elements correct. I'm sure you'll correct me on anything that I may have missed. Oh, and some of us have heard of it. But anyway, the correct answer is D, Dusty's Trail. Then I'll do number 6, and we will get SCOA's number 6. This failed attempt to launch a 90s 40s nostalgia blast featured a very young Peter Scolari. Was it A, The Good Time Girls, B, From Here to Eternity, C, Dad's Army, or D, Heil Hitler, I'm Home? I'll come in again. I may have just hit the algorithm too. This failed attempt to launch a 90s 40s nostalgia blast featured a young Peter Scolari? Was it A, The Good Time Girls, B, From Here to Eternity, C, Dad's Army, or D, Heil Hitler, I'm Home? I actually remember the show, and it was actually a pretty good show. It was sort of well, I'll give you guys a couple more chances to guess. I actually see some correct guesses. I'll be damned. Yes, it was basically like Laverne and Shirley. Um, if it was set in the 40s, it was called The Good Time Girls, and what it is it was. I think that it's a great idea that they could like launch a 1940s nostalgia craze like they did with the 50s with Happy Days and the 60s with American Graffiti. It was set during World War II. When these women all went to Washington to help with the war effort and had these little adventures. And it was sort of Laverne and Shirley if it took place during World War II. It wasn't a bad show, but it didn't make it. And he says, I vaguely remember a Good Time Girl show in the 1980s, so I'm going to go with that. You are correct. And Gary says, I've never seen The Man from Uncle or First Avengers, not the Marvel one. And Kerwin says, well, I've got to miss something sometimes. And Dad's Army was yeah, Dad's Army is actually a really, really cool um, uh, British show. And it's about, oh, what do they call them? I'm a World War II buff. I should remember this. They called them the Home Guard. The Home Guard. Pretty much men over 50 or for some reason weren't eligible for the draft formed these like local militias when that was not a hate word. And they basically they used to use like improvised weapons. Sometimes they would have like a knife taped to a broom handle as like a bayonet type situation, and they'd patrol the streets looking for like paratroopers and stuff. But it's about this one group of what do you call them? I just said it too. Home guard, and he says, "I looked up Dusty's trail for you, Bob. Ivor Francis was in it. So far, so good. Okay, so he's 5 for 5. I missed just one, or the same one, Kerwin. But Good Time Girls is the correct answer. Any scores? Yes, Amy Potts was in Good Time Girls. You are correct. One of her first roles. It was also the girl who played Georgette from Mary Tyler Moore show was in it. The girl who went on to do Patterson. She was Loretta Patterson. She went on to do the TV adaptation of Private Benjamin, and Adrian Zimmern is in it as well. And Tree says they were just way too many TV shows that I loved that we short lived, and there's so many of them that everybody else would like to be is like to is a possibilities could be endless. Yes, it sure is. And he says form is content. That joke is the bee's knees. Oh, form is content is here, and I have to see what joke they said. That 40 show. Yes. It was that 40 show. And Justice 4 for 5, and Ted is 5 for 5, and Emily is 4 for 5, and Tracy is 2 of 5, and Gary is 4 for 5, and Tracy is Angle, and Chris got 2 right so far. It is Lorna Patterson, thank you. And Indy says, "Are you thinking about Lorna Patterson?" Yes, yes, Lorna Patterson. I knew it was something. It was an L Patterson, but yes, you are correct. And yes, it was basically that 40 show, you know, which is a the bee's knees, as you aptly put it. Moving on, number 5. You guys are actually doing really well. I was afraid that this would be like a bust, but anyway. Number 5, New Kind of Family was a quasi template to what future hit series? A. Kate and Alley, B. My Two Dads, C. The Tortellis, or D. Dads? I shall repeat. New Kind of Family was a quasi template for what future hit series? Was it A. Kate and Alley, B. My Two Dads, C. The Tortellis, or D. Dads? And I put a hint in there, by the way. There is a hint. There is a hint. I'm more of a movie guy. Yeah, I should do movies next week, shouldn't I? Let's see. That was another show. I loved it, and it lasted like 6 episodes. In fact, I think it was a summer replacement series, but it was great. And speaking of Private Benjamin, I believe the woman who was the captain in the TV show Private Benjamin, I think in the movie and the TV show, is actually in it, and she was a riot. Yes. I guess if you haven't seen it, it was actually Kate and Alley, but it's basically about two divorced women who move into one big house with all their children and form a gestalt family. I don't know, which everybody thought was going to be the big thing in the '80s. And little secret, every time, shall we say, broken homes tried to work together and turn into a real, it never, ever worked out, ever worked out. Um, I have a very famous yet sad catchphrase where almost family means almost nothing. um, it always works on paper, but never works in reality. But that's another story. But Teb says a new kind of family was Rob Lowe's first big role. Yeah, he was like 15, I think, when it came out, maybe 14. But yeah, I do remember that. Thank you. And oh, I deleted Clue. Just Kerwin says Eileen Brennan. Maybe. Like I said, it's not clicking. I believe she was the same person. Uh, well, guess is 2 for 2. Moving on. This this is more of I found this anecdote and I go, this is too good not to use. So if it's a bad trivia question, I apologize, but I go, this is too good not to use. Number 4, this Cold War concept rom sitcom, Phil and Mickey, was derailed by what famous event? Oh, by the way, Phil and Mickey, it was a sitcom where a Russian athlete defects to marry an American athlete and hilarity ensues. But anyway, your choices are A, the 1980 Olympic boycott, B, the Iran hostage situation, C, the 1980 presidential election, or D, the Falkland War. I shall repeat. This Cold War concept rom sitcom, Phil and Mickey, was derailed by what actual event? Was it A, the 1980 Olympic boycott, B, the Iran hostage crisis, C, the presidential election of 1980, or D, the Falkland War? Yeah. Yeah, she and Indy are neck and neck. They really are. They really are. The correct answer is A, and now you're going to get the anecdote. Apparently, I just read this when I was doing some research today, because I actually remember the show and it was not good. But anyway, um, again, they were athletes, and the idea was that the fanfare of the Olympics, coupled with the us against them, East West thing, would make an automatic backdrop for the show and create buzz. And as you guys remember, for those of you who were alive at the time, the U.S. boycotted the 1980 Olympics, as a result of which there was the Americans didn't care because we weren't in it. And so what was supposed to be a natural free advertising event didn't happen. And the show wasn't very good to begin with. So nobody watched it. But again, it was that neat idea. It was sort of like the Elton John song "Hey Nikita," um, where a gay guy falls in love with a Russian girl. But anyway, just the idea, the whole, well, if East met West, we'd all fall in love and be happy. And well, look how well that worked out. No politics. Anyway, three. Kerwin says you're all too nice. We do try. That's our culture. Uh, of course she's smart. She's from my streams. And he says, I'm guessing the Olympic boycott. Yes. I'm guessing you made that comment before might give my anecdote. Uh, oh, Emily, you're so sweet. Flattery is kind. I'm stating a fact. You're so sweet. You really are. And he says, they could have turned it into a spy comedy. Yeah. They could have retooled it. Yeah, they could have. Ooh, that would have worked. Could have worked. Probably not. And and he says, "Well, I know JK is solid on the Twilight Zone. Who isn't? Who isn't?" Anyway, number 3. Oh, yeah. This ethereal sitcom was actually a spin-off of Mork and Mindy. Was it A, Angela Slept Here, B, Good Heavens, C, Nearly Departed, or D, Out of the Blue? I shall repeat. This this ethereal sitcom was a spin-off of Mork and Mindy. Was it A, Angela Slept Here, B, Good Heavens, C, Nearly Departed, or D, Out of the Blue? Can you guys hear me okay? I think my headphones aren't working because I sound muffled. But when don't I? Yes, I said ethereal sitcom. Thank you for poking fun at my speech impediment. Cossack. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But sometimes the lisp. You see what you made me do now? Sometimes the lisp does come back. Like when I try to say Christmas tree. Huh. I did it. I sometimes I have trouble saying Christmas tree. Damn you, tongue. Oh, sounds good, good. Up until when I started stammering. Emily says, I haven't thought of that show in decades. Um, another thing I just found out, I was doing research for Repo Man. Otto's quasi girlfriend is one of the daughters. And he says, don't you mean Cossack? You fascist? Indy, you know I love you. In a healthy, non-threatening kind of way. You can't be too careful on this interweb thing. But yeah. Okay, help me out here. Okay, you're smart. As you know, and I'm gonna go uh blue here for just a second. You know how in pre-code comedy cinema, effeminate men, and this is the official term. This isn't a hate term. The official term for effeminate men was sissies. Is it was because they had a lot of s's at the end of their words. And I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm saying I always thought it was like in Blazing Saddles. Sounds like theme escaping. Anyway, I may get flagged for this, by the way. I'm not trying to be. I'm actually um, being serious. I'm being serious. We have fun. We have fun. Anybody still watching this at this point would be a fan. So I doubt I'm going to offend anyone. If I haven't offended you guys yet, I don't think I'm going to. Denny says I grew up on watching soap and All the Family. And he says it comes from sister in some capacity. Oh, Sissies were like your sisters. So these guys were like your sister. Okay, thank you. I thought it was just because they pronounce their S's extensively, but thank you. Moving forward. Did I answer the damn question? It's out of the blue. We always go off the rails by this point of the show. Thank you. I think. Number two. Oh, this one's going to get me. Famous corpulent sleuth. Huh. Nero Wolfe had a short lived series starring this husky icon: A. Victor Buono, B. Ed Asner, C. William Conrad, or D. Orson Welles. Just a minute, never came in. Thank you as well, him, by the way. I shall repeat. Um, Famous corpulent sleuth. Nero Wolfe had a short lived series starring this husky icon. Was it A. Victor Buono? Oh, Sister Sarah's here. Hi, Ponce. Hi to you, by the way. So glad you could make it. Only a few minutes left, but so great to see you. B. Ed Asner, C. William Conrad, or D. Orson Welles. Emily says PP. Denny says I quit watching Mork and Mindy when Mork layer an egg and a 50s comedian came out of it. Yeah, Jonathan Winters, who actually could have worked on that show as well, but it wasn't. It was actually B. I'm sorry, it was C. William Conrad. C. William Conrad. Texas PowerPoint, obviously. And he says Mirth from Earth is actually a clever name. It is. It is. My voice is starting to crack, by the way, but I'll persevere to endeavor. Number one, even though I didn't number it, number one is this. I'm sorry, I'll come in again. Those Amazing Animals was hosted by this erstwhile Batman villain: A. Caesar Romero, B. Burgess Meredith, C. Frank Gorshin, or D. Victor Buono. I shall repeat. Those Amazing Animals was hosted by this erstwhile Batman villain: A. Caesar Romero, B. Burgess Meredith, C. Frank Gorshin, or D. Victor Buono. And the correct answer is, of course, B. Burgess Meredith, who I believe holds the record for most Twilight Zone appearances. Just and Indy, correct me if I'm wrong. Tied with four, with one other actor. I'll let you tell me which one it is. I know, I'll see if you guys do. But I use as a tiebreaker, he was actually the narrator of the Twilight Zone movie. So they were neck and neck as far as the regular show goes. And then this one goes beep. So I give him the most appearances. I don't think either one of them did the 84 reboot. But anyway, whack, 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 whack. Yes, it was whack, 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 whack. The one who wouldn't buy Russia because he didn't like vodka in the episode of Batman where he tries to buy a country. And Tug says Rod Serling had the most. Yes, Tug. Rod Serling had the most appearances in the Twilight Zone. You buffoon. Apart from the narration, the actor made the most appearances. It's actually okay. I should probably qualify it. Some had bit parts here, there, and everywhere. The guy from The Old Man in the Cave, whose name eludes me for the moment, I'm sure Indy will know it. Um, and no, I don't mean James Colburn, but the guy who was actually the one who communicates with the Old Man in the Cave. He did, I wanna say 3 or 4 as well, but he only starred in 1. He had, supporting roles, like in As Late I Think of Wi no, not in As Late I Think of Willoughby. The one with, Albert Salami, who was a phony baloney. Um, anyway, technically Rod Stewart, yep, he had the most yeah, yeah, okay, okay, I get it, I get Just Gordon says, "I think he barely beats out Bill Mumy." Bill Mumy was in Praise of Pip, and I think he was only I thought Bill Mumy was only in 2. The one with the telephone. He actually was in the movie, but I thought Bill Mumy was only in 2 of the original. John Doe says, "If you don't want the can to spray, tap the sides of the can to release the bubbles of the carbonation to the top. Tapping on the top doesn't do it." Really? Oh, I just do it out of habit. Doug says, "I am nothing if not pedantic." No, quite all right, quite all right. No, I think Bill. Yes, okay. And he says, "Were you looking for Jack Klugman?" Yes, Jack Klugman was in 4. Jack Klugman had 4 appearances, and Burgess Meredith had 4 appearances. Again, you guys might be right. I think Bill Mumy was only in 2. He was in a couple episodes of Hitchcock and some other shows at the time, but I think he only did 2 episodes of The Twilight Zone. Wait, oh wait, It's a Good Life. That's 1. The one where he talks to his dead grandmother on the telephone is 2. Praise of Pip is 3. Did Bill Mumy do 4 episodes of the original Twilight Zone series? Help a brother out here. I'm racking my brain. Somebody go on IMBD and say how many appearances in the original Twilight Zone. Emily says, and that's why we love you, Eric. Yes, it is. Uh, did we lose him? No, we have not lost him. And Tug says, Indy, he just said Colburn. James Colburn. I'm sorry, I did say Colburn. Colburn. Sorry. And Gary Carpenter says most of everyone from Batman were on Murder She Wrote. Very good. And he says John Anderson was the guy in the cave, but I'm not sure how many he was in. 3 maybe. Okay, but it's that type of thing. That there were supporting actors that were in several. In fact, I want to say, like, if you look closely in that one about the man who resurrects the dead, there were a bunch of people in that were in other episodes. Um, but thank you, John Anderson was the guy I was thinking about, and he was in the one with Albert Salami, and I think he was in at least one other one. And yes, Kerwin, I was forgetting. It's a Good Life, but I did finally remember that one. But oh yeah, we never did get scores. Yes, scores by the way. Tracy gets 4 of 10. And then he says to Tug, a guy can't even take a piss without Bob butchering something. John Doe says, Thrasher, trust me. I will. When don't I? When don't I? And Kerwin says Klugman was the best. He really was amazing. He really and it's funny because he's remembered mostly for The Odd Couple, which I think he was great in, but he did so much other wonderful other entertainment. And Tug says the one where Klugman was the trumpeter is a good one. That one's excellent. Gary Hammer says Telly Savalas did that one with the doll. I'm Talkie Tina, and I'm going to kill you. Um, Tug says, "All right, score is 10 for 10, but I." A lot from Cronin Indy. Dundo says, "I just sent you a video about the filming problems of the car. Thank you. I will watch it at leisure. I tried to find a shorter, but the only one I found is 20 minutes. I'll watch it while I'm drinking my coffee tomorrow. So enjoy when you can. I will." Just Kerwin is 9 for 10. Tab is 10 for 10. And he says there's some bit player that was in 60 or so. His name escapes me, but I think I backed into a few here and there. Sounds right. Sounds about right. Gary says, T, what kind of drink you are drinking? Okay, this is a local, I'm sure, if he's still with us. Christopher Wilkinson knows this. This is Polar Cola. Polar Cola from Rhode Island. Specifically, it is sparkling orange dry. It's a very nice beverage made locally here in New England. It's Mrs. Thrash's, but my throat was dry, so I'm sure she'd advance me one. Emily says, I'm thinking 7 for 10. I zoned out since the last question. Then give yourself that. That was the one about Burgess Meredith was the host of Those Amazing Animals. And Tracy says, Nighters. Good night, Tracy. Thank you so much for joining us. Gary's 8 for 10. Tug says, good night, Tracy. Hope you feel better. Definitely we all do. A lot of people saying good night to Tracy. John Doe says they did a Simpsons episode of Talking Krusty and the clown based in the Talking Tina. I think I vaguely remember that. This is Polar Cola now with 50% more bubbler. And Gary says Klugman was in the Odd Couple. Yes, he was. Quincy and the Match Game with his wife Brett. Yes, Brett did a couple episodes of the Odd Couple as well. And Kerwin says that was John Anderson playing Gabe in A Passage for Trumpeter 2. That is a really good piece of trivia. Thank you. I haven't seen that one in ages, but I didn't know he was. I mean, like I said, I knew he did a number of episodes in supporting roles. The only one that he really starred in was Old Man in the Cave, and yeah, Kerwin, good catch. Tugs is good catch. The Penguin hosted a animal show. Yes, he did. And Terrell says, by the way, it's Jennifer slept here, not Angela. Thank you. I knew Angela slept here sounded wrong. Thank you. It was Jennifer slept here. I'm sorry. And it's nice that somebody else can correct me besides Andy. I love you all. I seriously, I do. I love you all. By the way, all in good fun. All in good fun. And Gary says, "Sounds good. I've always liked Orange Crush. Sprite has an orange drink out now too. The good thing about this is it's not too sweet. I love orange soda, but orange soda tends to be a little overpowering. This is way more crisp. It's almost like an orange fizz. You know what it tastes like? I don't know if they ever had Friendlies in your area, but Friendlies used to make an orange cooler, and it was basically soda water with just a hint of orange syrup and orange sherbet. And oh, they were the best things to have in the summer. Oh, love them, love them. Uh, Gary also like those amazing animals. John Doe says Mr. Cutter still lives in New York City in Brownstone in Bensonhurst, where the show is based on. No kidding, I did not know that. Shoot. Bless me. Sorry. And he says I looked it up. Apparently, Anderson was in also in 4 episodes. Cool. Did we ever establish how many Bill Mooney was in? Tab says good night. Good night to you. Yeah, I think we're going to be wrap things up now. I think we're going to wrap things up. But this was a blast. This is really. I had so much fun tonight. Tug says Jennifer and Angela are both names of my psycho exes. You could do a whole show on that. That sounds like a country song. Jennifer and Angela. That's amazing. Emily says, Gary, I love the smell of oranges. There's an orange old oil spray I get when I can afford it. It is used as an air freshener, perfume, or wood polish. Gary Carpenter says, and Jillian played the ghost. She certainly did. John says, I go to Five Below and buy myself a 6 pack of Duff. They also mail order it if you want. Oh, we have Five Below here too, actually. But thank you. And Tug says I used to eat a lot of Friendlies Sundays. Long story short, I have diabetes. They did have good Sundays too, and Fribbles. Remember the Fribble? Kerwin says, blessings, Bob. Blessings to you too, by the way. Thank you for making it tonight. Please make yourself a regular fixture on the show. You were a wonderful, welcome addition to tonight's fun and frivolities. Thank you. Please join us again. Emily says, Eric, if all your exes are psycho, maybe they're the problem. Well, yeah, because you can be a psycho magnet. Um, oh, Christopher is here. Good night, Emily. So, Christopher, I'm sure you know Polar Soda as well. Happy trails. Yes, happy trails to you too, or dusty trails in this case. Movie was in three. Sorry, I didn't know you asked. Well, I asked kind of off the cuff, but yeah, because we named them. We named the one with the telephone to Grandma in praise of Pip, and It's a Good Life. Good night to you, Christopher. Thank you for joining us. Good night to you, Emily, as well. Tug says, I didn't say all my exes were psychos, a couple relatively sane, but how sane can a person be today? Me, but bump. Gary says, Bill Mummy was on Bewitched twice. Yeah, I think one was the Christmas episode, wasn't it? And he says, "Thanks for the trivia, Bob." No, thank you. Yeah, you don't only um, are you a good contestant, but you make the asking of the questions fun. Cohen says, "Had a great time. I'll try to stop in more often, but Sunday afternoons can be tricky for me more than understand. But please make it if you can." John just says, "Remember Burger Chef? What happened to Burger Chef?" My understand is just they couldn't handle the competition. There was actually, I believe there was one burger chef. Where did I see a burger chef? I forget, but it was at a time when like a lot of burger places were rapidly expanding, and a lot of them couldn't make it, and they just went kaputnik. Emily says back around 1980, I got a can of Orange Crush, and it had no color in it. Best Orange Crush ever had. A lot of people saying goodnight to Kerwin, as am I. Gary says, I only had one psycho girlfriend, and she was such an idiot. Carolyn says, yeah, that Bewitched episode is the Christmas must watches. John Doe says, Bob, next trivia should be about killer cars. I don't know if I can get to 10. I'll try, but I don't know if I can get to 10. I will try. If I get to 10, I will. If not, we'll figure something out. Emily says, we had a burger chef in Hickory. I think I saw them in Florida too. Um, but anyway, John, or famous cars in general. Yeah, that could be some killer, some not killer. But anyway, guys, we should wrap this up. But I want to say this was an absolute pleasure. I had such a blast tonight. I want to thank you guys all for showing up. I really look forward to these. When I have a bad week, sometimes people don't want to just like, I don't like talking to anybody. No, no. I love doing these. I love having you guys on, and it's just an absolute blast. And the fact that you guys come back every week, it really just makes my week. I do apologize. It's been a couple of months since I got content out. I shall try to get some content out this week. I can't make any guarantees. Weeknights have been kind of tricky for me, but I'll see what I can do. But anyway, until next time, you know the routine. Be good, be safe, be careful. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all again very, 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 very soon. Peace.